Resuming on chapter 18. Mother would come home and find that he had ruined her beautiful parlor. Father would take him in the woodshed and whip him with the black snake whip. He didn't want to ever come out of the haymow. He wished he could stay there forever. After a long while, Royal came into the haymow and called him. He crawled out of the hay, and he saw that Royal knew. "Manny, you'll get an awful whipping," Royal said. Royal was sorry, but he could not do anything. They both knew that Almanzo deserved whipping, and there was no way to keep Father from knowing it. So Almanzo said, "I don't care." He helped do the chores, and he ate supper. He wasn't hungry, but he ate to show Eliza Jane he didn't care. And then he went to bed. The parlor door was shut, but he knew how the black splotch looked with the white and gold on the white and gold wall. The next day, Father and Mother came driving into the yard. Almanzo had to go out and meet them with the others. Alice whispered to him, "Don't feel bad. Maybe they won't care." But she looked anxious too. Father said cheerfully, "Well, here we are. Been getting along all right?" "Yes, Father," Royal answered. Almanzo didn't go help unhitch the driving horses. He stayed in the house. Mother hurried about, looking at everything while she untied her bonnet strings. "I declare, Alice and Eliza Jane," she said, "you've kept the house as well as if I'd done it myself." "Mother," Alice said in a small voice. "Mother." "Well, child, what is it?" "Mother," said Alice bravely, "you told us not to eat all the sugar. Mother, we ate almost all of it." Mother laughed. "Oh, you've been so good," she said. "I won't scold you about the sugar." She did not know about the black splotch that was on the parlor wall. The parlor door was shut. She did not know it that day, nor the next day. Almanzo could hardly choke down his food at mealtimes, and Mother worried. She took him into the pantry and made him swallow a big spoonful of horrible black medicine she had made of roots and herbs. He did not want her to know about the black splotch, and yet he wished she did know. When the worst was over, he could stop dreading it. That evening, they heard a buggy driving into the yard. Mr. and Mrs. Webb were in it. Father and Mother went out to meet them, and in a minute they all came to the dining room, and Almanzo heard Mother saying, "Oh, come right in the parlor." He couldn't move. He could not speak. This was worse than anything he had thought of. Mother was so proud of her beautiful parlor. She was so proud of keeping it always nice. She didn't know he had ruined it. And now she was taking company in. They would see the big black splotch on the wall. Mother opened the parlor door and went in. Mrs. Webb went in, and Mr. Webb and Father. Almanzo saw only their backs, but he heard the window shades going up. He saw that the parlor was full of light. It seemed to him a long time before anybody said anything. Then Mother said, "Oh, take this big chair, Mr. Webb, and make yourself comfortable. Sit right here on the sofa, Mrs. Webb." Almanzo couldn't believe his ears. Mrs. Webb said, "You have such a beautiful parlor. I declare, it's almost too fine to sit in." Now Almanzo could see where the black brush had hit the wall, and he could not believe his eyes. The wallpaper was pure white and gold. There was no black splotch. Mother caught sight of him and said, "Come in, Almanzo." Almanzo went in, and he sat up straight on a haircloth chair, and he pushed his toes on the floor to keep him from sliding off. Father and Mother were telling all about the visit they had to Uncle Andrew's. There was no black splotch anywhere on the wall. "Oh, didn't you worry about leaving the children alone here while you were so far away?" Mrs. Webb asked. "No," Mother said proudly. "I knew the children would take care of everything as well as if James and I were to home. Almanzo minded his manners, and he did not say a word. Next day, when no one was looking, he stole into the parlor. He looked carefully at the place where the black splotch had been. The wallpaper was patched. The patch had been cut out carefully and all around the gold scrolls, and the pattern was fitted perfectly, and the edges of the patch scraped so thin that he could hardly find them. He waited until he could speak to Eliza Jane alone, and he asked, "Eliza Jane, did you patch the parlor wallpaper for me?" "Yes," she said. "I got scraps of wallpaper that were saved in the attic, and I cut out the patch and I put it on with flour paste." Almanzo said gruffly, "I'm sorry I threw that brush at you. Honest, I didn't mean to, Eliza Jane." "I guess I was aggravating," she said, "but I didn't mean to be. You're the only little brother I've got." Almanzo had never known before how much he liked Eliza Jane. They never told about the black splotch on the wallpaper, and Mother never knew.